Take a look at the slide on the left side of your screen. The font is Comic Sans, the logo is crooked, and the team that built it spent 4 hours on it. Now look at the slide on the right. Same numbers, same story, same audience, but this one took 90 seconds to build, and it was built inside Claude with a single prompt. My name is Ibrar, and for the next 20 minutes I am going to walk you through the exact workflow I use to build a full, premium, ready-to-ship deck without Keynote, without a paid slide generator, and without a single design skill. So stop designing slides. Start describing them. Let us go. This is the slide most teams open up on a Monday morning. The logo is misaligned. The urgent badge is tilted. The font is Comic Sans. The headline reads Synergistic Excellence, which is a buzzword sandwich that means nothing real. There are 7 jargon bullets, a stock photo handshake, a teamwork banner that looks like it was written in the year 2003, and a footer that says confidential. That is 8 visible design problems on a single slide. Nothing here was placed there on purpose. This is just what happens when somebody opens Keynote before they write down what they actually want to say. The good news is that we can rebuild this entire slide in about 4 minutes, using Claude with one prompt. Let me show you the 3 moves that do it. 3 moves. That is the entire method. Move 1 is to strip the noise. Kill the buzzwords, kill the clip art, keep the real numbers, the real decisions, and the real owners. Drop everything else. Watch what happens to one bullet. The line that says key performance indicators have demonstrated significant growth becomes ARR plus 18% quarter on quarter. Same fact, 10 times the punch. Move 2 is to apply the formula. There are 6 lines: audience, goal, story, count, style, and format. You paste those 6 lines into Claude as a single prompt, press send, and 5 clean, on-brand slides render in front of you in about 90 seconds. Move 3 is to refine by talking. You say things like, make slide 2 stat first. Swap that bullet for a customer quote. Add a clean thank you slide at the end. 3 sentences, 9 seconds, no reloading. Strip, formula, refine. About 4 minutes from start to finish. Same 5 things to say, real polish. Same 5 sections, a completely different deck. Look at the breathing room on every page. 1 idea per slide. 1 number per slide. 1 ask per slide. The cover slide sets the audience. The KPI slide leads with the headline number, and the spark line carries the rest of the story without a single bullet. The customer quote brings a real human voice into the room. The risk slide owns the bad news with 1 chart and 1 page reference. And the last slide is the ask, which lands on Monday, with RevOps by Friday. Half the words. 1/10 of the time. 0 clip art. That is the new bar from here on. Before we go further, let us name the trap. Today there are 3 ways to build slides, and every one of them hurts. Option 1 is to make it yourself in Keynote or PowerPoint. It is free, it is slow, the font is still wrong, and that is 4 hours of your life you will never get back. Option 2 is to pay a slide generator like Beautiful.ai, or Gamma, or Tome. They are fast, but every deck on those platforms looks like every other deck on those platforms. Your investor sees 10 decks in a week, and they can spot a template from across the room. Option 3 is to hire a designer. The output is great. The cycle is the slowest. The cost is the highest. That is fine for a big launch, and completely useless for next Monday's stand-up. Here is the truth, and the personal version of this lands hard for me. I used to spend Sunday nights on these decks, and my partner would ask me why, and I never had a good answer. You are not actually paying for design. You are paying because nobody ever taught you how to describe what you actually want. Here is what makes Claude different from every other slide generator out there. Claude does not give you a template. Claude builds your actual deck. When you describe a slide to Claude, it opens what is called an artifact panel on the right side of the chat window. That panel holds a real, renderable, editable HTML file. It is not a placeholder. It is not a preview. It is the slide itself. You refine the slide by talking to it. You say something like, make the hero number bigger, or swap that chart for a customer quote, and you watch the file rebuild live in front of you. You can copy the HTML, you can publish a public link, and you can save the whole deck inside a project so you can reopen it and rebuild it next week. Think of Claude as a junior designer who reads your brief, builds the deck, and rewrites it instantly when you change your mind. The free plan handles short decks. Claude Pro at $20 a month handles full decks, plus projects, plus connectors. The free plan is enough to start. Here is your first real workflow. Imagine you have raw stand-up notes from Slack. ARR is up 18%. 2 anchor accounts closed in Europe. Churn is at 4.1%. Pipeline is at $11.3 million. And the asks are 3 intros and 1 pricing review. You paste those notes into Claude and you write 1 prompt. Turn these notes into a 5-slide investor recap as an HTML artifact. The slides are cover, KPIs, wins, losses and risks, and asks. Use dark mode with coral accents. 1 stat per slide. Maximum 8 words per bullet. Press send and watch the artifact panel render. Slide 1 is the cover. Slide 2 is the KPI hero, leading with 18%. Slide 3 shows the 2 anchor wins. Slide 4 flags churn with a prior period comparison. And Slide 5 lists the 3 asks, placed on the last slide where they belong. 60 seconds. 15 minutes of slide making is gone. Every slide is on the same dark coral wavelength. Before I give you the magic prompt, let me show you 4 common mistakes. Ask the wrong way, and you delete the answer. Mistake 1. Make me 10 slides about Q3. That prompt is too vague. There is no audience, no goal, and no tone. Claude has to guess, and you have to delete the result. Mistake 2. Make it look nice. The word nice means nothing. You need to pick dark or light. You need to pick the accent color. You need to pick the feel of the font. Mistake 3. Use bullet points. That is the default of every default deck on the planet. Ask instead for stat first, quote first, or visual first. Mistake 4. Cover everything. A deck that covers everything covers nothing. Cap the scope to 5 things at most. Do this instead. Name the audience, name the tone. Lock the shape. 3 sentences, and the output gets 10 times better because you stopped designing slides and you started describing them. Quick reality check on price. Most people are paying $40 a month for Beautiful.ai. That comes out to $480 a year, paid entirely for templates. Claude Free costs $0. It gives you 5 to 10 slide decks a day. No credit card required. Start there. Claude Pro is $20 a month, and most people who use it for chat are already paying for it. Pro gives you higher limits, plus projects, plus connectors, plus memory. That is the full toolkit. Honest math. If you already pay for Claude Pro for chat, you already have a slide generator for free. Do not double pay. If you remember one thing from this entire video, remember these 6 words. They are the formula behind every prompt I write. Audience. Who is watching? For example, our Series A board. Goal. What you want them to do. For example, approve a Q4 round cycle. Story. The arc you want to walk them through. For example, wins, numbers, risks, and the ask. Count. The shape of the deck. For example, 8 slides, 1 stat each. Style. The feel. For example, dark mode, coral accents, calm, confident, no buzzwords. Format. The output. For example, an HTML artifact in 16 by 9. 6 lines, and that is the entire prompt. Save it in a notes file. Edit those 6 fields for each new deck. Send. Done. Watch the formula do its job, live. First message. Make me 10 slides about Q3. That prompt saved you 5 seconds of typing and cost you 3 hours of cleanup. Now the rewrite, using the formula. Audience is the Series A board. Goal is approval to start a Q4 round cycle. Story covers wins, numbers, risks, and the ask. Count is 8 slides, with 1 stat or 1 sentence per slide. Style is dark mode, coral accents, calm and confident, no buzzwords. Format is an HTML artifact in 16 by 9. Press send. Same data, but half the slides, a clear ask on the last one, audience aware, goal led, and reusable next quarter. Take this habit with you. When the deck feels off, do not rewrite the slides. Rewrite the prompt. Now we make all of this permanent. This is the move that changes everything. Open projects, create a new one, and call it Brand Deck Builder. Upload your brand kit PDF with the colors, the fonts, and the logos. Drop in a zip of your 5 best previous decks. Add a voice examples markdown file so Claude learns the way you write. Then you write the project instructions. Default to dark mode. The coral hex is D97757. Use tempo serif for headings and enter for body text. Maximum 8 words per bullet. 1 stat per slide. 16 by 9 HTML artifact every single time. Now watch what happens. Open a brand new chat inside that project and type one sentence. Build a 6-slide product launch deck for Acme Pay version 2. Audience is existing customers. That is it. One sentence. Claude reads the brand kit, applies your voice, and picks the right layout. The cover slide, the why now slide, the 3 features, the customer quote, the pricing, and the call to action, all of them on brand by default. You did the work once, 6 months ago. Now you reuse it forever. This is the move that changes everything. This is the part of the workflow people fall in love with. You do not redesign. You redescribe. Try it. You say, make slide 2 stat first, and drop the bullet list. Slide 2 becomes a hero plus 18%. You say, swap the testimonial for a quote from our biggest customer. Done. You say, add a thank you slide with my email at the bottom. Done. 3 refines, 9 seconds. No reloading. You talk, you refine, you talk again. You never open the file, and you never click a button. That is the entire loop. Quick breath. You are halfway through. 8 chapters down, and 8 to go. The foundations are locked in. You learned about the slide trap. You learned that artifacts are real slides. You learned the 6-part formula, the brand deck project, and how to iterate by talking. With just those 5 moves, you can ship a real deck tonight. Now we go from can do to never thinks about it again. Ahead are 10 reusable slide types, themes and export, memory, skills, connectors, an honest comparison with the other tools, 5 workflows, and a 30-day plan. Stay till the end, because the connectors trick at minute 18 is the one I get asked about every single time I share this video. Stop designing slides. Start describing them. Let us keep going. Here is the shortcut that ends staring at a blank slide forever. Memorize 10 slide types. They cover 95% of every deck you will ever build. The first 5 are cover for the title, stat first for the big number, quote when you need a human voice in the room, chart for the bar or the line, and timeline for milestones. The other 5 are comparison for before and after, 3 block features for product pages, goal or KPI for targets, risk and ask for the hard conversation, and the call to action, which is the last slide that asks for the next step. Here is the power move. Tell Claude the type for each slide. Say slide 1 is cover, slide 2 is stat, slide 3 is chart, slide 4 is quote, slide 5 is the ask. You instantly get a cleaner deck because you removed every guess. Same content, 3 completely different vibes. 1 line of prompt changes everything. First line, dark mode, coral accents. That gives you boardroom calm. Second line, light mode, minimal, serif headings. That gives you investor memo elegant. Third line, conference keynote, bold, electric. That gives you stage ready and loud. Build the deck once and re-render it with 3 different style lines. Pick the one your audience expects. That is the entire design rebrand workflow, done in 2 minutes. Built in Claude, used everywhere. You have 4 ways to get the deck out. Publish a public link and share the URL the same way you share a Google document. Copy the raw HTML and paste it into your own site. Screenshot every slide for a PowerPoint drop-in. Save the whole HTML inside your project knowledge so you can rebuild it next quarter. Here are the exact steps for the public link. Click Publish in the toolbar. Toggle the public switch. Copy the URL. To get a PDF, open the URL in your browser, press Command-P, and save as PDF. That is your conference projection backup. Honest note, Claude does not generate PowerPoint files today, but HTML plus PDF covers about 95% of what presentations actually need. Now the move that makes everything stick. Memory. You tell Claude once. From now on, remember that my brand color is Coral Hex D97757. I prefer dark mode. Use TMPO serif for headings and enter for body text. Default to a 16 by 9 HTML artifact for every deck. Claude saves it. From that moment on, every future investor update, every weekly status, every sales pitch, and every training deck comes out on brand by default. You stop repeating yourself. Claude stops guessing, same deck quality, half the prompt. Skills are how you turn this into a one-click habit. Create a skill and call it weekly status deck. Paste the same 6-line prompt into it. Set the trigger so it fires when you paste weekly status notes or when you say, make this week's deck. Save. Next Monday, open a new chat and paste in your bullets. Claude sees the trigger, fires the skill, and renders the whole deck for you. One skill for each recurring deck. Weekly status, monthly board, sales kickoff. You never write that prompt again. This is the one I promised you at the halfway mark. Connectors. One-time setup. Open settings, find connectors, and use OAuth to connect Drive, Notion, GitHub, or Linear, whichever tools you live in. Then you write the real prompt. Read my latest weekly status document in Drive and build a 5-slide team deck from it. Use my brand kit. Claude pulls the document, finds the numbers, applies the brand, and renders the slides. No copy-paste. No more wondering whether you grabbed the latest version. The source is the source. Here is the architecture. Drive is the database. Claude is the design layer. Skills are the trigger. Memory is the brand. That is the entire stack. Quick, honest comparison. No tool wins everywhere, and I would rather you spend your money in the right place. Claude wins on 5 things. On brand custom design, edit by talking, file reading, free tier capability, and storytelling. Those are 5 clean wins. Gamma and Beautiful.ai win on one-click PowerPoint export. Canva wins on the stock library. Here is my pragmatic advice. Use Claude to build the deck. Use Canva or PowerPoint only when you absolutely need a PowerPoint file for somebody else's pipeline. Do not pay $40 a month for a template gallery you do not actually need. 5 decks you can build in the next 10 minutes. An investor update, 5 slides. A weekly status, 3 slides. A product launch, 6 slides. A conference talk, 8 slides. A training deck, 7 slides. Pick the one you build most often. Take the weekly status as an example. 90 minutes of work in Keynote becomes about 3 minutes in Claude. You trigger the skill, paste this week's bullets, refine one line, publish the link, and drop it in Slack. Done. Pick the deck you build most often. Run it on real content tonight. Save the prompt as a skill tomorrow. That single move saves you an entire workday a month. 6 dates. Never open Keynote again. Day 1. Build your first deck. Paste a real meeting note. Ask for a 5-slide recap and publish the link. Day 3. Run all 5 workflows back to back. Feel the lift. Day 7. Build your brand deck project. Load the brand kit, the voice examples, and your defaults, all loaded once. Day 14. Ship a real deck publicly. Day 21. Save your first deck skill. Day 30. Connect Drive or Notion and build decks straight from the source. 30 days. 20 minutes a day. By the end of next month, slide making is a 5-minute task, not a Sunday night project. Take these with you. 5 copy-ready prompts. Pause the video right now, take a screenshot, and drop them in your notes. Each one is the 6-part formula, filled in for a real situation. Replace the bracketed parts with your real input. That is the whole edit. The training deck prompt is the one I reuse the most. If you build courses, content, or onboarding, that is your shortcut. Turn the prompt you use most into a skill. Save it once. Fire it forever. We are done. 3 moves to make all of this real today. Move 1. Pick a real deck on your plate. A weekly status, a pitch, a course intro. Do not practice, ship it. Move 2. Use the 6-part formula. Audience, goal, story, count, style, and format. 6 lines. Move 3. Save it as a skill. The next time you build this kind of deck, the skill auto-triggers, and you save another 40 minutes. If this was useful, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Comment the word deck along with the deck you are going to build first. I read every one. The next deep dive is Claude Design, where we build publish-ready landing pages the same way we just built slides. Stop designing slides. Start describing them. Go. End of script runtime target, 23:45. Bracketed cues are speaker-only pacing notes. Markers are for the editor. Bold inside narration marks the word to land emphasis on. If a slide's animation runs longer than its narration, hold the silence. Let the deck do the talking. If narration runs ahead of an animation, sit on the last line until the on-screen element resolves. The signature line is the only thing that should be said 3 times.